Relationships go through periods, sometimes really hard times, but there's nothing sweeter than having a family, and that is worth everything.
For years, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn were Hollywood's golden couple, the perfect proof that love could actually survive in a world packed with quick breakups and messy divorces. But behind those glowing smiles and red carpet moments, reality wasn't as perfect as fans imagined. Now at 74, Kurt Russell has finally broken his silence and decided to tell his side. After years of keeping everything bottled up inside, what he just revealed has shocked everyone. Their once stunning relationship was secretly loaded with constant fights, bitter resentment, and emotional walls that kept getting higher. The pair who once looked unbreakable started pulling in opposite directions, both carrying heavy anger and deep disappointment they never spoke about. Their famous love story wasn't actually built on pure happiness. It was quietly crumbling under massive secrets and unbearable pain they couldn't hide anymore. Kurt Vogel Russell was born on March 17, 1951, in Springfield, Massachusetts. His father, Bing Russell, was already known on television screens, while his mother, Louise Julia Crone, dazzled audiences on stage as a talented dancer. The Russells came from English, Irish, German, and Scottish backgrounds, generations of artists and big thinkers. When Kurt was young, his family moved west and settled in Thousand Oaks, California, where sunshine and baseball became everything to him. He spent those early years playing on dirt ball fields, completely focused on going pro one day. By high school, he was dominating as a second baseman, eventually signing a minor league deal in 1971 for 2 seasons. His skills were legit, an all-star player with serious potential, until a shoulder injury in 1973 suddenly destroyed everything. The sport he dedicated his life to vanished before he reached his peak, a crushing blow that only hurt less because his whole family understood that same love for the game. His dad had played before him, and his nephew, Matt Franco, would later continue that family tradition. From 1969 to 1975, Kurt also served honorably with the California Air National Guard, learning discipline and commitment while his baseball dreams slowly became memories. Kurt Russell's Hollywood journey started almost randomly. A tiny, uncredited moment in It Happened at the World's Fair in 1963, where he playfully kicked Elvis Presley. Nobody guessed this kid would grow into one of Disney's biggest names. That same year, he started getting television work, scoring guest spots on various shows, then landing the starring role as the young adventurer in the travels of Jamie McPheeters. At only 12 years old, Russell was already headlining his own TV series, showing both youthful energy and surprising maturity that previewed the talented actor he'd become. During the 1960s, Russell bounced between television shows playing missing sons, troubled teens, and innocent dreamers in programs like The Fugitive, The Virginian, and Gunsmoke. He even appeared on Gilligan's Island as Jungle Boy, perfectly showcasing his natural charisma. Every small role, no matter how brief, built another layer of his growing fame. Then everything shifted. In 1966, when he was just 15, Russell locked in a massive 10-year deal with Walt Disney Productions, an agreement that would shape his entire young adult life. Walt Disney personally believed in the young performer, reportedly predicting huge success for him just before Walt passed away. That year, legend says the final thing Disney wrote down was Russell's name, a powerfully symbolic moment connecting them forever. Russell rapidly became Disney's fresh face. Movies like Follow Me, Boys in 1966, The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes in 1969, and The Barefoot Executive in 1971 established him as the studio's golden boy. Behind those happy comedies and clean-cut adventures, though, sat a teenager dealing with the weird reality of fame where being young and being grown up mixed together too fast. Throughout the early 1970s, Russell kept growing, bouncing between Disney's safe films and heavier projects, including playing a young criminal alongside James Stewart in Fool's Parade in 1971. By 1974, he'd starred in The New Land, a well-reviewed but quickly canceled TV show that revealed his more serious acting side. Even while stuck with Disney's wholesome reputation, Russell was secretly getting ready to enter Hollywood's darker, more complicated world. One that would challenge, change, and eventually define who he really was behind that innocent smile. What makes Kurt Russell's path so incredible isn't just his lengthy career. It's discovering the quiet, lasting love he found with Goldie Hawn. Their relationship didn't start with dramatic romance or Hollywood theatrics, but with something much more authentic, a gradual, real connection that strengthened over years. They originally met in 1966 during production of the one and only genuine original family band. Back then, they were basically strangers, two young performers navigating Hollywood's massive system. Life took them separate ways, both building individual careers in the entertainment business. But destiny, taking its time, had other plans. Almost 20 years passed before they reunited in 1983 on the Swing Shift set, and suddenly everything felt different. This wasn't explosive instant passion, it was calm understanding. Two people who'd experienced enough life, suffered enough losses, and matured enough to truly recognize each other. Kurt later shared that meeting Goldie again felt straightforward and genuine. She radiated warmth and energy that naturally drew him closer. What began as strong attraction quickly transformed into deep friendship, founded on honest communication, shared laughter, and real respect. Together, they created one of Hollywood's most unusual love stories, not because everything was flawless, but because they stayed authentic. They never bothered getting married, never cared about society's expectations, yet their relationship has survived longer than countless celebrity weddings. Kurt frequently mentions still feeling like he's discovering Goldie fresh even decades later, showing love that doesn't fade, only intensifies. Their partnership has survived celebrity pressures, passing time, and life's constant unpredictability, demonstrating that sometimes love doesn't crash into your life dramatically. It quietly appears when you finally learn to recognize it. Behind fame's bright lights and career achievements, Kurt Russell's personal life held heavy burdens, devastating heartbreaks that molded the person beneath the star power. In 2003, he experienced a tragedy that completely destroyed his world, losing his father, Bing Russell. For Kurt, Bing wasn't just his parent, he was his best friend, his teacher, and the unwavering supporter who believed in him long before Hollywood noticed. Losing him felt like losing the guiding force of his entire existence. Kurt would eventually admit his father's death dropped him into one of the darkest, most isolated emotional spaces he'd ever faced. But life wasn't finished testing him. In 2014, his mother Louise died, the elegant, stabilizing presence who'd nurtured his heart equally as much as his abilities. With both parents gone, Kurt stood alone facing grief's painful aftermath, the kind that time never completely heals. His mother and father had been his life's foundation, the voices he relied on during every crisis. Without them, everything felt unbearably quiet. The pain cut way deeper than most people realized. It wasn't simply mourning, it was an internal struggle. The crushing weight of grief started affecting his mental health, amplified by fame's constant spotlight. The world watched the smiling performer, the Hollywood legend, but few noticed the man carrying deep sadness behind those calm eyes. There were moments when walking away from everything seemed tempting, when celebrity noise felt overwhelming. Still, throughout everything, Kurt survived quietly and powerfully. He pushed forward not by forgetting, but by carrying his pain with dignity, honoring the love that shaped him and the losses that permanently transformed him. But the real question stays, how did Kurt Russell discover the strength to keep rising every time life knocked him down? The answer probably centers on one person, Goldie Hawn. To him, she's never been limited by typical labels. "Sometimes I call her my wife, sometimes my girlfriend," he once explained with warmth. But really, she's just Goldie. That simple statement captures their entire relationship. Pure, down to earth, and built on genuine understanding. Goldie hasn't just been his partner, she's been the steady anchor holding him through every storm. When grief hollowed his heart, she became the warmth refilling it. When fame grew overwhelming, she was the peace reminding him of his true identity. Together, they constructed a life not based on image, but on authentic laughter, mutual respect, and an unspoken commitment to support each other no matter what challenges arrived. They raised a family, supported each other's ambitions, and survived Hollywood's madness side by side. Not because perfection existed, but because they stayed real. What makes their love exceptional isn't avoiding problems, but refusing to let problems control them. Perhaps the most stunning aspect of their journey is what they chose to skip. They never married. In a culture obsessed with ceremonies and symbols, Kurt and Goldie quietly redefined what real commitment actually means. For over 40 years, they've lived by their own standards. No rings, no official vows, just the daily choice to love and remain together. Marriage doesn't create success, Kurt once reflected. The people do. Their connection proves that genuine love doesn't require outside approval. It simply continues. It's constructed not on promises written officially, but on countless moments, small, imperfect, beautiful, reminding two people why they originally chose each other. Maybe that's their lasting love's real secret, staying open enough to recognize in another person qualities you might never have discovered in yourself. Kurt Russell's evolution from child performer into Hollywood's most adaptable leading actor started with one career-defining performance, Elvis in 1979. Portraying the rock and roll legend with stunning accuracy, Russell displayed emotional range few had witnessed before. The role earned him an Emmy nomination, marking a fresh chapter in his professional journey. The film's director, John Carpenter, spotted something raw and captivating in Russell, sparking a powerful creative partnership that would produce cinema's most legendary cult classics. Shortly after, Russell completely shed his Disney reputation with Escape from New York in 1981. He transformed into the tough anti-hero Snake Plissken, a character as rebellious as it was unforgettable. This gritty dystopian performance was light years from the wholesome image younger audiences remembered, signaling to Hollywood that Kurt Russell had evolved beyond the clean-cut kid. Around that time, he voiced the adult copper in The Fox and the Hound in 1981, a small nostalgic return to the studio that raised him. His reunion with Carpenter for The Thing in 1982 pushed him deeper into complicated, conflicted characters dripping with tension and fear. Though initially misunderstood, the film eventually became a masterpiece, its haunting isolation reflecting Russell's own navigation through fame's unpredictable landscape. Then came Silkwood in 1983, earning him a Golden Globe nomination and cementing his reputation as a serious dramatic talent. Throughout the mid-1980s, Russell kept taking bold creative risks, from the noir atmosphere of The Mean Season in 1985 to the supernatural mayhem of Big Trouble in Little China in 1986, a movie that initially flopped but later achieved cult immortality among dedicated fans. His comedic abilities shined in Overboard in 1987, while thrillers like Tequila Sunrise in 1988 and Tango and Cash in 1989 reminded everyone of his edge. By the early 1990s, Russell had perfected reinvention. Whether battling flames in Backdraft in 1991, fighting corruption in Unlawful Entry in 1992, or stepping into Western legend as Wyatt Earp in Tombstone in 1993, each character carried intense power. He explored science fiction again with Stargate in 1994, and even voiced Elvis once more, this time for Forrest Gump in 1994. Through the decade's remainder in films like Executive Decision in 1996, Escape from LA in 1996, and Breakdown in 1997, Russell proved no genre could contain his range. Every character felt like reflecting his own growth, someone who'd learned carrying both life's weight and the courage to keep pushing forward. As years rolled on, Kurt Russell kept proving his talent held both versatility and staying power. In 2001, he appeared as a psychological expert in the haunting thriller Vanilla Sky, but his powerful performance as Olympic coach Herb Brooks in Miracle in 2004 reignited worldwide appreciation. With quiet determination and emotional intensity, Russell captured the essence of someone who transformed ordinary athletes into champions. Critics celebrated his work, calling it among his career's finest, a moment where Russell seemed to completely merge with his character. Following years brought mixed victories, obstacles, and surprising revelations. In 2006, Russell openly revealed that during Tombstone's production in 1993, he'd quietly assumed much of the film's directorial responsibilities after the original director got removed. Out of loyalty, he kept that secret for years, honoring his commitment until after George P. Cosmatos passed away. The admission only increased respect for Russell, someone dedicated to craft over recognition. He kept moving seamlessly between styles, from the disaster epic Poseidon in 2006 to the ruthless stuntman Mike in Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof in 2007. and later to the brutal The Hateful Eight in 2015 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019. His rugged presence found fresh audiences through Bone Tomahawk in 2015, while his mysterious Mr. Nobody in the Fast and Furious franchise introduced him to another generation. In 2017, alongside Goldie Hawn, Russell received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, two names side by side representing a lifetime of devotion and achievement. That year, he joined Marvel's universe as Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, a role perfectly mixing spectacle and sadness. He later embodied Christmas spirit itself in Netflix's The Christmas Chronicles films, reminding everyone of the warmth always hiding beneath his toughness. Through everything, one truth stayed constant. Kurt Russell's journey was never defined solely by fame. Long before cameras, he'd been a ball player, a young man with dreams that ended too early after a devastating shoulder injury in 1973. That moment, tragic as it was, became the pivot sending him back to acting. Perhaps that's his life story. Each loss creating fresh beginnings, each setback shaping the legend Hollywood would never forget.